Okay, I wanted to make a quick little video talking about this guy. It's a little 3-inch kind of lightweight quad that I've been really enjoying. I believe this frame is the Quattrovolante XENO 3 Lite. This is the light version, meaning that the carbon is a little bit thinner, and I'll get into that in a minute. I actually broke it pretty good, but as you can see, it's still okay. Still flies pretty good. I also had a different top plate here. I broke that too in the same crash, but we'll get to that in a minute. First off, though, the frame is really cool. I really like the way it's laid out. The carbon, the bottom plate, is pretty strong, actually, despite the thinness. And this long chassis gives you plenty of room to put all your stuff inside. Anyway, I just think the frame looks sharp. It's a bottom-mounted battery. I really like the way that the antennas are managed. These are the RCX 1304 4000 kV motors, and I've been using them with 4S batteries. I got the CNHL 4S's and the Tattoo 4S, both 450, and these both seem to work really good with this model. I'm getting about 3 minutes of flight or so, which is pretty nice, and the motors are just slightly warm. I've been using these Avan 3024 props that have been working pretty well. As you can see, I have some race wire and a couple of race lights on here just for fun. The race wire is super helpful. I actually tried to install some different motors on this quad first, and I had a bad motor. It was a cheap budget 1106, the real ACC orange motor. Anyway, they didn't work, but I was able to easily swap these RCXs in, and they work great. As far as the camera, I'm using the Cadex, I think it's the Micro Turbo F1, $20 camera. Works great in the sunlight, not great in low light, but sunlight, I think it's a really good camera for $20. And for the stack, I'm using the King Kong 12 amp stack with the ESC flight controller and VTX all in one stack. It makes the build super easy. They have all the little JST plugs for all of your things, so you can plug in your camera straight away, you can plug in your VTX, whatever else. Some people may not like that, but I found it made the build quite enjoyable and quick and easy for the most part. I did build the stack incorrectly. I kind of tried to soft mount just the flight controller, and I don't know if it actually worked that well. If you look at the pictures, what they do is they actually soft mount the entire stack. I'll flash the picture from Banggood on the screen. But anyway, this seems to work just fine for me. And I'm flying this thing on my Taranis X Lite. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to the build. It's a very simple build. It went together very quickly and very easily. I did crash this on one of my first flights. I don't know why. I was flying it over concrete, but I was, and for some reason the VTX completely cut out, went completely blank, and I crashed upside down and broke this to pieces. Right up here, I broke both, I don't know if you can see it, I broke both side plates right here when I hit the ground upside down, and I broke some of the carbon up here too, but I just screwed it all back together. I used a spare piece that came with the frame, and now it's up and going just fine. And I haven't had that VTX issue ever since, so I'm not sure what happened there. But I think this thing is like the perfect little park flyer. I can fly this thing around. I did it the other day. I'll have flight footage coming up here that you can see in a minute. The wind was really bad that day, but this thing handled the wind a lot better than I expected, which was great. It's just a great size for flying around places that you wouldn't necessarily want to fly a 5-inch. But you'd fly this at places where you have a little more room, but not quite enough room for a 5-inch. And you could probably fly this most 5-inch areas as well, and it'd be just great. Still needs to work on the tune. I think I'm going to lower my rates on the X Lite. I think my flying will improve a bit. Let's do the weight real quick. So yeah, I really like this kind of build. It's very similar to my Kamikaze. These are both 3-inch kind of lightweight frames. Both have RCX 1304 motors. This has the 5000 kV, this has the 4000 kV. Both work great on 4S. This one also works really well on 3S. I'm sure this one works fine on 3S, but with the higher kV, these motors, anyway, these have some more flexibility. These are really good on 4S. But these are very similar builds otherwise, very similar quads. The quad geometry is slightly different. This one's kind of a stretched X. But they both weigh, I think, the same too. Let me double check that again. The XENO 106. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that's 106 grams. And then the Kamikaze is 107. So they're almost exactly the same weight. and they fly really well. This one being top mounted battery, and this one is a bottom mounted battery. But really like this class of quad. A little bit lightweight. You know, these motors are kind of in between the 1100 series motors and the big, massive, you know, 1407 motors and beyond. And I think that's just it's just kind of a sweet spot, and it allows you to run with a much smaller battery. Anyway, check out some of the flying. Not the best flying. Like I said, a lot of wind, but I had a good time. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. See you guys later.
We'll be right back.